Hey, welcome back everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a Cyberpunk 2077 Iceberg. This one was created by Alfred the Jones on Reddit. They also answered all of them, so very thankful to them. I'll have a link to it in the description. They did all the work. I can't take any of the credit for this at all. So we'll start from the very beginning. But as always, I just want to say first, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching. Nibbles. The cat V can adopt that lives near their flat. There's an empty bowl you can find in the corridor with a shard asking the tenants to feed the cat. You can either find or purchase cat food and use it to fill the bowl. After a day, you'll find a cat that you can pick up and take to your apartment. If you scan it, you'll find out that its name is Nibbles. Elena Pierce, Jesse Cox, and Co-Carnage cameo. These three are streamers and media personalities who got to voice minor characters in the English dub of the game. Elena voices a girl in the Nomad exclusive These Boots Are Made for Walking. Jesse voices the infamous Flaming Crotch Guy, and Co-Carnage voices Prophet Gary, who's a part of the Prophet song side quest. Don't fear the Reaper ending. It's a secret ending available if you choose the right dialogue prompts during the Johnny's grave scene and Chippin, and wait for a couple minutes on the rooftop scene in the Nocturne OP55N1. Phone calls to Jackie. After Act 1, V can make a couple of phone calls to Jackie. There's no prompt in the game to do so it's technically an Easter egg. Ciri Easter eggs. There's multiple references to Ciri, Deuteragonist? CD Projekt Red's previous title, The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt. The first one would be the fact that you can see her on the cover of the magazine Corpo V has in their desk. There are also graffiti that say Sintra, the kingdom Ciri is the princess of, rules, in different places around town. Takamura can survive and search and destroy. If you turn back immediately after you get control of V when the Arasaka squadron invades the apartment you're in, you can actually save Takamura, despite the game not telling you that this is an option. If you do so and choose the devil ending later on, Takamura will be present instead of Hellman. V can't sleep like a normal person, a bit of a meme due to the weird animation V had when you prompted them to go to sleep on their bed. They're kind of knelt with their side pressed to the bed. This has been patched since then, and V sleep in a more normal way. Secret developer's room in Kabuki. There are locked doors in Kabuki with a numeric keypad attached. If you'll punch in 605-185, the door will open, reveal a quaint room with the photos of developers on a screen. You're breathtaking. From the E3 2019 presentation of the game, the famous quote by Keanu Reeves, who was presenting the whole ceremony, that got referenced into multiple places in the game proper. Hideo Kojima cameo. During the heist, you can enter a small bar in Konpeki Plaza. Hideo Kojima is there, under the name Hiroshi Oshima. You can listen to him monologue, but you can't have any substantial conversation with him. V's real name, Automatic Love, reveals that V's canonical full name is either Vincent, masculine V, or Valerie, the feminine V. Missions are named after songs. Since Act 2 onwards, all main and side missions are named after various songs, which usually have some thematical connection to what's happening in the game. Now we move on to Tier 2, The Star. Tears in the Rain Easter egg. In Haywood, you can find a naked, that is, wearing underwear, man sitting on top of the roof of an abandoned motel with rain pouring down on him and a neon sign saying like tears behind him. This is a reference to Blade Runner. The game has multiple, but this is the one most elaborate, so it got a place in the Iceberg. Carrie's ex-wife and kids. If you check Carrie's laptop he has in his house, you can see an email exchange with a woman called Louise Norton Uridine talking with Carrie, about their two children, Kim and Ted. What a sad name for your child. Teddy is better. Neither Luis, Kim, or Ted are referenced anywhere else in the game. There's a photo of a woman Carrie has on his table, and a cut dialogue in the file suggests that Johnny, in V's body, was supposed to be able to ask Carrie about it, with Carrie confirming that the woman is indeed Luis. Ballad of Buck Ravers, Samurai Replica Jacket Conversation. If you're wearing the Samurai Replica Jacket you got from Rogue and Chippin, you'll unlock a different conversation with the store owner warming up to V very quickly. V's and Johnny's original ages. In the game, V is 27 and Johnny died at 34. Pre-release material for the game stated that V is 23, while the art book states that Johnny died in his late 40s. Deus Ex styled cutscenes in E3 2018. The game originally had a different perspective. The gameplay was in first person, but the cutscenes were in third, like in Deus Ex games, allowing the player to see their V. This was changed at some point during development to have the game entirely in first person, and not really feature any classic cutscene. David Bowie was originally casted to play Johnny. Before Keanu Reeves was casted to play Johnny, there were some ideas thrown around to cast David Bowie. Casted is in quotation because Bowie was dead by then. They wanted to use technology similar to that used in the movie Star Wars Rogue One. Project Cheetah. According to multiple voice actors, this was the game's code name. In game development, different projects usually use code names to prevent any possible leaks due to the sheer amount of people working on an average AAA game. Unused Interiors. There's quite a lot of unused interiors of different buildings that can be accessed by going out of bounds. Whether they were cut permanently or will be added in later is anyone's guess. Cyberpsychosis isn't real. That would definitely change Edgerunners. Cyberpsychosis isn't a real illness. It's a mixture of different factors like trauma, faulty and outdated implants, and lack of access to proper professional medical care. Different versions of the second conflict side quest. Depending on your actions in the pickup in Act 1, you meet different members of the Maelstrom gang in the Totsnaz Club. Fool on the Hill graffiti meaning. Tarot cards graffiti you collect for this side quest have meanings that correspond to the event that takes place in the general area near them. Some are more obvious and some less so. Cut combos between Johnny and V about Alt, Rogue, and Carry. Pretty self-explanatory, and you can listen to the combos online. You can get to Fingers Clinic through the window. In the space in between main quests, you can enter Fingers Clinic through a window if you have the reinforced tendon cyberware. This allows you to double jump and have 5 points in technical ability to open said window. There's a unique dialogue from Fingers if you do so. Panam's art book hairstyle. Pretty self-explanatory on the concept art done by Marta Detloff. Panam had a different hairstyle that didn't make it into the game. A dialogue changes with high relic compatibility. If you achieve high relic compatibility, easiest to do by choosing the Don't Fear the Reaper dialogue choices in the grave scene, some of Johnny's dialogue will change slightly to kinder lines in subsequent missions in his quest. He'll say, "Sure, kid loves me," when Carrie asks Johnny if he and V get along, instead of "Not lately, no." Not like we have much of a choice though. Also ask V how they're feeling about the concert in A Like Supreme. I think it'll also allow V to ask more questions about the other members of the Samurai at the start of Holding On, but don't quote me on that. Paweł Sasko streams. Cyberpunk's lead quest designer, Paweł Sasko, streams every week on Sunday on his Twitch channel. Johnny's real name. Shocking, I know, but Johnny Silverhand isn't Johnny's real name. His full name is Robert John Linder, but nobody actually uses it in-game other than his niche at the Columbrium. Mike Pondsmith is Maximum Mike. Maximum Mike, the conspiracy theorist from the Morrow Rock radio station, is voiced by Mike Pondsmith, who created the tabletop RPG the game was based on. Expanded Universe Comics. Dark Horse has a series of officially licensed comics and graphic novels that take place in the Cyberpunk 2077 universe that tell original stories with little to no influence on the game's plot. For now, at least. 2 versions of Chippin' In. There are 2 versions of the Samurai song Chippin' In. The first one is the more well-known one created by the band Refused that plays on radio stations in the game. Listen here. There's a second version song by Damien Yukiji, sorry if I mispronounced that, considered Carrie's take on the song, which plays briefly during Interlude. Again, another link where you can go listen. Melissia from Max Tac is the Mantis Blade girls from the trailer. Good. Melissa, the Max Tac officer you can briefly talk to in the side mission called Bullets, is actually the girl from the game's very first trailer, which was released in 2013. Now on to Tier 3 Temperance, the early character models. Pretty much every character has a very basic unused model that looks much different than their final design. This is likely used for testing in the very early development. A few of them can be found showcased online. You can mention River and Jotaro when talking to Woodman and Automatic Love. During your conversation with Woodman and Automatic Love, you can use your friendship with River if you completed his quest line before doing Automatic Love, or intimidate Woodman by saying that you've killed Jotaro from the Monster Hunter gig to get info about Evelyn's whereabouts from him. Conrad Old Money. The hip-hop producer Conrad, oh wow, what a tough name, Abramowitz, aka Conrad Old Money. That's a hell of a lot easier for the dumb American here. Collaborated on a lot of radio tracks for the game, meaning he's credited for 28 different fictional bands, one for each artist he worked with. Dicky Twister conversation with Johnny. In the gay strip club Dicky Twister, V can have a conversation with Johnny about how he went there with Carrie, and openly talks about his attraction to men. This particular combo made it onto the Iceberg mostly because it's notoriously difficult to trigger to the point where some consider it cut content. Maiko's cut gun. You were supposed to obtain Maiko's iconic Tsunami new pistol called Second Opinion, according to the game guide, or Death and Taxes in the game files, in her office during Automatic Love. The gun is currently unavailable in a normal playthrough, but can be hacked back into the game. It's fully functional if you do so. Pan Am's unused text messages. One of the updates introduced more text conversations with Pan Am, which are currently unused. Evelyn's cut appearances. Evelyn has 3 unused appearances in the files called Disguised, Battle Dress, and Casual, which may imply that she played a bigger part in an early draft of the story. Archangel, Lost Samurai Song. There's one more song by Refused that was made for the game that was never officially released, titled Archangel. Fragments of it are used in the game. 2013 Riot Scene, it's used as the main musical motif in Boat Drinks, and Johnny can play a part during Holding On. The full song was never released, however, and fans can only speculate on how the full version would sound like. Bugged decoration in V's room. The official guide mentions 3 other memorabilia that were supposed to appear in V's room after completing certain quests. A record player with samurai vinyls for Tapeworm, Aldecato's jacket for Queen of the Highway, and a Carrie poster for Boat Drinks. These currently seem to be bugged and don't appear under any conditions. River can die in The Hunt. If you deny River help with finding Randy in The Hunt, River will storm the farm himself and will subsequently get killed. It's notable because he's the only love interest who can die in the game. Johnny's dog tags are a reused asset. All of the dog tags seen in the game, or almost all, are actually reused textures of the ones Johnny's Ingram is wearing. Street signs are based on those found in Warsaw. Pretty simple to design of the signs that tell you what street you're on, based on the ones used in Warsaw, the capital Poland, and the city one of CD Projekt's offices is based in. Sleep well, my prince/princess. Dummied out voice lines of Johnny saying "sleep well, my prince/princess," it's speculated that he would say it before he takes over V's body at the start of the Sun ending. T-Bug shoes say Delta V. If you zoom at T-Bug shoes during your pre-heist conversation with Deshaun, Jackie, and T-Bug in the afterlife, you'll see that they have Delta V written on them. It's the last bit of foreshadowing before the spectacularly failed heist in Konpeki Plaza, with Delta being the slang for runaway. You can visit the Path of Glory apartment early. With the use of implants and some advanced parkour, you can visit the high-rise V lives in the Path of Glory endings early. After one of the updates, the apartment is now locked. Atom Smasher's name is a pun on Atom Smasher, now more commonly known as particle accelerators. Unused Optic Camo cyberware. You can equip V with Optic Camo, similar to the one Oda uses in his boss fight. It came in 3 tiers, each one extending how long V can be invisible by 5 seconds. The files actually got modified slightly in one of the recent updates, so it might get patched in the game one day. For now, modding it back might cause the game to crash. Clouds had an onsen theme. There are models for Evelyn, Roxanne, and Tom, the 2 dolls you work with in Judy's line of quest, and even Johnny, though it's just a generic male model with Johnny's arm, so don't get too excited. With the tag onsen in the files, because Evelyn, Roxanne, and Tom are all workers in Clouds, some fans speculate that it had an onsen theme at some point during the development. Johnny talks on the loading screen. If you let the broadcast that plays on the loading screen, the one you get when you load the game for the first time during a session, play out to the end, Johnny will comment on it. Cut Rogue sex scenes. There are models in the files of Rogue in lingerie with Judy's tattoos. These models use her 2077 design for the head, meaning that the scene would likely play out in the modern time, not in Johnny's memories. Keanu Reeves exists in universe. Everyone knows about the Arch partnership, but he's actually directly name-dropped in the Jules song, No Save Point. The explanation that Keanu Reeves is actually an actor in universe, but he never broke it in the mainstream, and his most notable quality was his physical resemblance to Johnny Silverhand. The 2018 E3 demo mentioned in Tier 2 used the Monowire implant as a cable with which V needed to manually connect to the enemies to hack them. In the release game, this is done remotely, and the Monowire became a weapon with no other functions. Cut Johnny and V's hug from the Temperance ending. This official behind the scenes with Keanu Reeves has a recording, a mocap session, where around the 2:20-minute mark you can see him recording a scene of presumably Johnny pulling someone into a hug. Fans speculated that Johnny was supposed to pull V into a hug before they start in the Temperance. Tier 4, The Reaper. TPP Classic RPG build. Before even the E3 2018 demo with the Daisy X styled cutscenes was released, the earliest build of the game was supposed to be a third-person classic RPG done on the Witcher 2's Red engine, where the player would play as a member of Max Tac, with the game's plot revolving around recruiting cyber psychos. At some point in development, the game was overhauled into the first-person action RPG focused on the Relic heist and V racing with time to prevent their death. Paweł Jumper Easter egg. In Haywood, you can find a young man named Pablo, who crashed his bike after falling from a great height. You can find a shard next to him that talks about him being casted to record a Braindance remake of the cult classic from Eastern Europe that was recorded 70 years ago. It's a reference to a Polish viral video called Paweł Jumper. You can actually fail boat drinks. Boat drinks is a pretty non-interactive mission, but you can actually fail if you jump out of the boat in the brief window where you have full control over V, where they and Carrie go from the couches outside to the bar inside. Carrie will send you a hurt message after some time. Johnny's dog tags are reused assets on purpose, so a little bit different than the one from before. In the scene where he gives them to V and Pistis, Sophia, at least the theory states that Johnny is actually giving V his own dog tags, and it's not a case of reused assets. The friend who sacrificed his life for him was Robert John Linder, his birth name. In order for Johnny Silverhand, the rebel and rock legend, to be born, Robert John Linder, the scrappy kid who got drafted, had to metaphorically die. All of Maxim, Mike's, and Gary the Prophet's theories are true. Pretty self-explanatory, goes doubly so for Maxim Mike's theory because AFAC, all of his theories are based on the actual events in the Cyberpunk tabletop. River can go to prison. If you help River with saving Randy and the hunt, but decline his invitation for dinner, he will go to prison after getting into a bar fight, and you will get a unique call from him during the credits. The game's actual development period. Many people think the game was in development since it was announced in 2013. This is incorrect. That's just when CD Projekt Red acquired the rights to make a game based on a tabletop game from Mike Pondsmith. The actual development started around 2015 to 2016 after The Witcher 3 was released. It came out in 2020, so they had about 4 years. December 10, 2020, so about 4 years of development. Johnny's inconsistent blood types. His dog tags state that his blood type is O negative, but the scans shown on one screen and never fade away say that it's actually AB positive. It's unclear which one is the correct one. Ooh, this is the ultimate ball crusher. Johnny was a cut romance option. How great would it be to romance Keanu Reeves? This is purely a fan speculation, but I think it's worth putting in there. Despite the game insisting that V and Johnny are just besties, hey, it's not gay as long as the lights are on. There's quite a lot of moments where the player can start questioning V and Johnny's true feelings. Johnny tattooing a Cupid heart with their initials in it, the fact that they're tied to the Lover's Arcana, Johnny comparing his and FemV's dynamic to an old married couple, their whole relationship following the classic enemies to lovers setup, and it's really not that hard to interpret the relationship as romantic if you so desire. Because of that, some fans theorize that Johnny started out as a viable romance option for V. But it was cut for one reason or another, time and budget constraints, Keanu Reeves not consenting for having his likeness used in that context, the player being somewhat railroaded into a romance with Johnny as opposed to other characters. Claire's name was a Formula 1 reference. Claire's second name is taken from George Russell, a very promising young racer, while her name is taken from Claire Williams. Both Russell and Williams worked together for 2 years in a team called Williams Racing. It used to belong to Claire's father. Judy's hidden text messages. If you hack the game to allow you to drive Judy's van, you'll get a set of text messages from her. Judy's nudes. Hell yeah. Allegedly, Judy might send you her nudes, if you've romanced her, that you can find in V's apartment. But nobody has any proof of this, however, so it's likely a hoax. Still, it's well known enough that it got added on the Iceberg. Robots playing poker. There's a blocked off hotel room that can be glitched into or opened with a character that has 20 points in the body category. Upon opening, you will see 2 robots playing poker. Rogue and Carrie are/were friends. In the Sun ending, you can see a photo of Rogue and Carrie in their 2023 designs on Rogue's desk, among other photos. They never mention each other in the game, but their photo strongly implies the 2 are/were friends, if Rogue held onto it for over 50 years. Song on Carrie's laptop foreshadowed the events of his questline, plus the Path of Glory ending. Carrie has 3 songs on his laptop, which are works in progress. Their text foreshadows the events of his questline, Romantic Path, and the Path of Glory ending, which is considered the best one if you want to romance him. Dark Matter talks about Off the Leash, a vision of your memories, is a song he writes about a romanced V. He says so in the text messages. And Shivers talks about V departing the space casino. Morgan Blackhand participated in the 2023 tower attack, a fan theory that speculates that Morgan Blackhand, an important character in the tabletop lore that's absent from the game, participated in the 2023 Arasaka tower raid along with Johnny and his crew, but Johnny has simply erased him from his memories of the event. It's stated in the game that his memories are unreliable. Pistis Sophia references are Gnostic?
Gnostic.
text about temptation? Yeah, I don't know. Pistis Sophia is the name of the abandoned hotel Johnny takes V to give him their dog tags. It references a Gnostic text about an entity called Pistis Sophia, who was tricked by lesser entities to leave her plane of existence and now try to steal her light. It mirrors both Johnny's story of going AWOL and being reborn as a rocker boy, and V being tempted by Johnny to give up the control over their body to see Rogue. Ozob is based off a Brazilian RPG vlogger's character. Ozob is based off the character used by Dave Azaghal Pazos. I apologize again for getting all that wrong, I'm certain. From the Cyberpunk podcast from the site Javim Nerd. Pazos actually voices Ozob in the Portuguese dub of the game. 4 cut gigs still in the files. There are 4 cut gigs in the files that were almost finished and were restored by the members of the community. Those are Concrete Cage Trap, Nasty Hangover, Desperate Measures, and Hothead. According to the data mining, they were supposed to be added in a free DLC. Cut Takamura Conversation. There's a cut combo between V and Takamura about Joy Toys here. I think I saw a post with more cut voice lines between them, and they imply that Bakaneko scene had more dialogue options. Abernathy is a lesbian/bisexual woman. Not really a secret, more of a case of lost in translation. In the Polish version, Jenkins V's superior from the Corpo prologue says that he has dirt on Abernathy, including info about her kokonaka, which is specifically a female lover. The English dub uses the gender-neutral lover, so this detail is omitted. This should be the last tier. Tier 5, The Devil. Luigi from The Beast in Me is a tribute to the developer's deceased friend. At the start of one of the races in The Beast in Me, you can see a team composed of a man named Luigi and his partner Margot. While most fans hand-waved it as a reference to the Super Mario Bros. Series, the truth is actually much sadder. If you scan Luigi, you'll find out that his full name was, and I'm certain I will pronounce this wrong again because it's Polish, Jakub Luigi Antoniewicz. I apologize for getting that wrong. I'm certain. The Easter egg was put there by one of the developers named Raphael W. Orkin. The character was supposed to be a surprise for Antoniewicz, but Orkin has revealed on his Facebook profile that his friend actually committed suicide 2 days after the Easter egg was implemented. Margot, the second half of the racing team, is also the name of Jacob's wife. 2137. This is the code for one of the numeric keypads in the game for the gig Greed Doesn't Pay. While it seems like a random number for most players, this is very likely a reference to a Polish meme that refers to the hour John Paul II died on. It's hard to explain the meme to people outside of Poland. I guess it's kind of comparable to jokes about 9/11. Badlands Raid, BD, that's mentioned in the game, was recorded in the Your Voice comic. Badlands Raid is an action brain dance that was recorded in the year 2023. You can't watch it, but it's mentioned on multiple shards in the game and apparently got a remake in 2077. It tells the story of a nomad raid on Zetatech convoy and apparently features a cameo of Johnny Silverhand. It's also noted that people starring in it aren't professional actors. The story, the Johnny cameo, and the lack of professional actors imply that it was recorded during the events of the Your Voice official comic. Victor is based off a main character from a Polish sitcom called Siwat Wedlug Kepsko. Okay, he wasn't, but this killed me and I had to put this in here. There's a Polish sitcom called Siwat Wedlug Kepkuk that featured the quack doctor character called Victor Vector in one of the early episodes. Some Polish fans thought that Victor in the game was a reference to said character, a Polish Easter eggs. And trivia site Gryz9.pl apparently asked people in CD Projekt if that's a deliberate Easter egg. The team denied it, and they were apparently very surprised at the connection. Yishin from the Your Voice comic is a cameo in the game. Yishin, the deuteronomist of the Your Voice comic, can be briefly interacted with during the mission Never Fade Away, when Johnny is looking for Rogue and the Atlantis. She's the girl who's struggling with the vending machine upstairs. Groupie at the start of Interlude is the girl from the Black Dog short story. A fan theory according to which the groupie in the backstage of the Last Samurai concert in the Interlude is a die-hard samurai fan from the Black Dog short story from the tabletop game. The girl from the story was the owner of an unreleased samurai song, and some fans speculate that this is the same character who will play a bigger part in the DLC or something similar. I am not me room. In one of the abandoned buildings, not certain where exactly, there's a room with the door slightly ajar. If you break out the camera using mods to see what's inside, you'll see a room with someone's deranged scribblings on the wall and a giant I am not me on one of the walls. The room is very eerie, and fans speculate everything from it being a Twin Peaks reference a part of a cut cyber psycho encounter to just a spooky Easter egg. Johnny's body isn't at the oil field. A fan theory that speculates that Johnny's body isn't actually buried at the oil field. You visit with him. Theories range from it being on the moon, on a space station, any research facility, and more. It's theorized the player will be able to find it and upload Johnny into one of the DLCs. And the last one, V technically dies in every ending. The V we played through the game dies in every ending except the Devil returned to Earth, when they're turned into an engram by Alt or by Arasaka. What does that mean for V and the player exactly is yet unclear. And since this Iceberg was made, the 3 to 4 gigs one that was mentioned earlier was actually patched in 1.6. There you go, that's the entire Cyberpunk 2077 Iceberg. I kind of wanted to check this out after finishing Edgerunners and playing the game a little. But as always, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching. Really means a lot. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.